Good morning, everyone in Zoom. We're a lively bunch this morning.
Yeah,
That's good.
low the energy, huh?
Everyone had
Right?
their coffee this morning.
Good
That's
buzz.
great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this week. We have, and then we have a really special guest here, Justin Stoddart, but we'll get through our announcements and get to the meat of today's class, Ignite. So we started Ignite last week, and now this week, who do we have teaching? Melanie and Mark Fox.
Oh, wow.
So good
Cool.
lineup this week. It's Thursday and Friday, right? Yep, Wednesday and Thursday. And anyone can show up in person only in this room. And those are both great presenters. So it's always cool to hear from our different agents. So
Melanie crushes it at open houses.
yes.
Yeah, crushes it. And Mark's
Melanie,
right?
for those who don't know, Melanie was on our staff. She worked at the front desk, and then she was agent services for a little bit. And then about 2 years ago, she went out on her own to be an agent. And it's so cool to see that she's just crushing it, right? So that's awesome. And then Mark Fox runs our biggest team here. So Fox Real Estate Group. So both of them are going to have good.
Maybe the most efficient team. No offense to the other teams up there, but they are a machine.
Yeah, they follow models really well.
Yes, they do.
So they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah, and brilliant. So there's a lot of good information there.
Yeah, we have good teachers the whole time, but yeah, so this week, if anyone can come, show up here.
Mhm.
Right, Tanya? Just show up.
Good teachers till the end, and then it gets a little weird.
The last two questionable.
Yeah, a little weird.
First and the last, I don't know, but everyone in the middle is
Really good, really good.
really good.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Austin. Okay, so Rochelle Newmeyer, one of our agents, is going to be a panelist on a class. We just want to highlight her. This is not like a Keller Williams thing at all, but her and Jen Tushner are presenting 3 easy tips to polish and grow your business online. It's a class through Tycor Title online. So there'll be more information. I don't know, maybe in our Facebook group. Austin, can you throw that in our Facebook group? But it's cool. It's free. It's tomorrow. And see one of our very own agents. So good work, Rochelle, if you're on. And then also tomorrow, Austin's command class. Austin, tell everyone what you're going to teach tomorrow.
Okay, so there are some really cool features that you can utilize in your KW websites. So a lot of things that are set up there, you can do directly through command. You can customize it with pictures that are custom to you, as well as your bio and whatnot. But there's a lot of things that also Scott Leroy can do for you. And so we'll talk a little bit about how you can get that set up. What's nice about the website is it is kind of a it's meant to be a lead generation source. So it's not necessarily a place where you have to go and maintain it constantly. You set it once and maybe go in once in a while to add some featured listings, but in reality, that's it. And so I'll show you a little bit about, how to customize that website to make it more you and not just Keller Williams, but, have it be branded to you and make sure that it's up to date and all that stuff. So, yeah, it'll be good. Half hour.
Cool.
Sounds
Show
great.
up here 2:00 tomorrow. And if you have any other command questions for Austin, you can also show up with those as well. 2:00 in this
Sweet.
room. Okay. And then our award ceremony. It's hard to believe it's next week. I feel like February seems so far away and now we're here. So next week, Thursday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or noon at Twelton Country Club. And register if you can, just so we have an idea of a count. But if for some reason you don't register, but you still or something clears up and you're able to come, still come. But just registering kind of helps us get an idea for tables and food and everything, because it'll have full breakfast, waffles and eggs and bacon and sausage.
It'd be really fun.
Mimosas.
Last
We're
year,
trying everything
Yeah.
just to get people coffee.
I think I
what
had a couple
else?
mimosas last year.
Yeah. What did you say? Yeah, I know. And we're trying to bribe you with food and drinks, but it's really to celebrate you guys. So it's a cool event. We had it there last year, which was an improvement from the parking lot the year before during COVID. So, we're keeping it, like a fun event.
Yeah, we did a
So
stand up in the parking lot. We didn't-
Yeah.
no chairs, I don't think. It was fun though.
that was like the
It's
heart
kind of
of
like a whole
COVID.
day thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Actually, I think we got a, so we're at the mariachi band and a taco truck. And
Yeah.
some people told us this was such a fun awards. I'm like, huh, go figure, right? So, okay, then family reunion also coming up.
Oh,
Whoa, whoa.
Must be sound.
I thought that was a drum roll. I was like,
yeah.
good
Fun,
one.
ta-ra.
I think
Ah.
the beach-
Oh,
Yeah. Mhm.
so everyone can dream of being at the
Mhm.
beach. Registration's still open for family reunion. And also sometimes this time, like as it gets closer, people who bought tickets from other market centers around the country and the world might not be able to go. So sometimes you can actually get a ticket for like half the price if you buy it from someone
Mhm.
around now. So if you are interested in going, check it out, talk to one of us. And if you are attending, Tanya has started a text thread for like some planning and things like that for all of us there. Okay. Cool. And we have an extra room for anyone who wants to come because the I heard the Marriott was sold out. So
Cool.
awesome. Jumpstart 2023. This is anyone who gets a listing, January or February. We're going to have a really special event in March at Aloro Vineyards. So there's all the people that qualify so far. Daryl, Kelly, Jana, Pam, Mark, Bradley, Cricket, Josh, Julie, Marcella, Linda, Dwight, Stacy, Lara, John, and Payone. So that's awesome. Let's get some more of you guys on that list. And it's really just to like help us get into overdrive at the beginning of the year. You know, if you get the momentum going at the beginning of the year, it really sets the tone and the pace for the whole year. And we're focusing on listings because with listings, you get additional business, buyers and listings. And okay, see y'all at Aloro because I hope everyone gets a listing. We're talking about if you get 2 or more, maybe an exclusive tasting or something. We'll see. PMAR, if you didn't pay your PMAR, it's due today. After today, actually, you want to talk about that?
We could, yeah. So PMAR or EMAR or LMAR or whatever Realtor org locally in Oregon you are a member of, you need to pay today. Otherwise, it will be $100 late. Well, PMAR charges $100 late fee. I can't tell you what EMAR and all the other ones do. But you need to join. You need to pay your dues at a realtor organization that I am a member. And I think I'm a member with almost all of them within a stone's throw here for sure. But anyways, the problem is if you're not a realtor, then we either lose our charter or I got to kick you out. So please pay your dues.
Right.
PMAR, NAR, and OAR, Oregon Association.
That's one
Yep.
whip pay. It's all together. Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
tomorrow you pay $100 more. 2 weeks later, Kelly
And-
has to take you up.
Well, I don't know what the period of time is. Like literally they could start complaining tomorrow and make me start sending people back. So I don't know when it usually rolls. It takes them 2 weeks usually to figure it out, to process it all. That said, don't play with it. I don't want it to like call you and say, hey, are you in or out? I don't want to do that. But
And it's $100 more tomorrow.
and it's like $100 more. And guys, like, I know it's a big ticket item, but PMR does provide in Oregon Association of Realtors and the National Association of Realtors, they do provide value to you. You just may not see it every day, but they're busy in legislatures trying to pass bills to protect homeowners. And mostly like the big thing is every time, like when everybody's looking at their tax budgets, they're always trying to, the feds and the state are always trying to take out that deduction for home interest to,
Get rid of it.
yeah, to take
Mortgage
that deduction.
interest.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
And they do a great job of finding that. And like that alone is probably worth it to you guys.
Yeah, I would agree that like sometimes you're like, what exactly do they first? But there's so much legislative
Yeah.
fighting behind the scenes. A few
Mhm.
years ago, there was a bill to in Oregon to increase the tax that
Mhm.
sellers
Yeah.
would have to pay
Right.
on money earned,
Right.
right, from a house sale. So just penalizing sellers. So the Oregon Realtors fought hard for that. So sometimes it's really hard to like tangibly see
Mhm.
where your money goes, but there is a lot of fighting in the background, last May, I went to the legislative meetings in Washington, DC, and it was like really eye-opening to see
Yeah.
what they all do for
Mhm.
us. So anyways, that was just a off topic. Regardless if you see the value or not, you need to pay. your
At
bills.
one time, I think, and maybe it's still true, the NAR, like National Association of Realtors, like the largest lobbyist group in the United States.
Oh, I
They're
don't
huge.
know about that,
Yeah,
but
they're
that's,
huge. It's huge.
that's cool.
With NAR, they own books.com.
They used to own.
They don't own anything.
I don't think so. I think they sold it.
Dow Jones, I think.
Yeah, they sold it.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, next up, happy birthday to our lovely February birthdays. Oh, Austin, look at
How about
you up
that?
there. Who else is in the room that's on there? Getting the room. Yes, Matt, you're up there. Cool. And Valentine's Day is in the middle of the month too, so we have that. We'll do a Valentine's exchange, just kidding. But happy birthday to all of our February birthdays. Also, welcome to Jackson Cole, Dax, wave, Cole, wave. And they're both new. Dax was a real estate agent outside of Oregon, and now he's building his business here in Oregon. And Cole is new to real estate, so we're excited to have you both. And what's going on in mortgages? Josh, come on up. Tell us what's going on in the world of lending.
All right. Wanted to revisit this product here. This business is heating back up. So are the rental market. So if you have folks that are investors interested in buying investment properties, we've got a great 10% down investor product. It's on a 30
Austin, pay attention to this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Yeah, so it's a 10% down investor program. It's on a 30-year amortization. So the payments amortized over the 30 years. It's got a 15-year balloon. So you got to refi or pay it off in 15 years. But it's awesome for investors who want to get in to investment properties, buy rental properties, and start renting. With such a hot rental market, it's a great time for folks to get into it. So if you've got past clients that maybe if they've lived in their home for a while, maybe they want to leverage some of that equity to buy an investment property, this is a great option for them. You can buy up to 4 units. You can see the loan limits there at the bottom for 1, 2, 3, and 4. One of the best things about this program also is you can potentially use the rental income to help qualify offset debt to income for the purchase.
Right out of the gate.
It's a really good
David.
product.
Okay.
It's a really, really good product.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's awesome, 10% down, no mortgage insurance, reasonable rates. It's a portfolio product, but it's underwritten, mostly like Fannie Mae, conventional guidelines with a few unique characteristics. But if you want to know more, let me know. I'll pass out some flyers, or actually I'll just leave some on the back desk so you guys get back to the meeting, but grab some on the way out.
Will you talk about balloon payments? Because
Sure.
a lot of people, might not have seen those in a while.
Year 15, you got to pay it off. So balloons becomes one big payment and you got to pay it off. So you got to plan accordingly. Obviously there'll be communication leading up to that if somebody makes it that far. But that's one of the reasons why they're able to do a 10% down program, because they know they're going to recoup their investment back in that 15 years and get paid off. But they allow you to make the 30-year amortization payment up until then.
You mean like I could pocket the extra, right? Because I could just pocket the extra. I could like actually think that I'm paying on, the 30 or whatever, pocket the extra. And then now between now and the next 15 years, rates are going to go down for sure,
Right.
below where they are now. It's a fantastic product.
Refinance.
Yeah, it's a great way to get in.
Yeah, absolutely. Because your value is going to go up. You're going to get more equity built into it. Then at that point, yeah, absolutely, you can refinance into it.
Yeah, it's a great product. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, at the end of the 15 years, typically for someone left over, wouldn't you refinance again with whatever good products on the market at that time?
If you haven't already
could.
refinanced
If
before.
you haven't
right?
already,
Yeah.
yeah,
If
exactly.
you have
There's
paid it off in 15 years, you can refinance, it's probably worth more anyway. You
absolutely.
can pull some more money out to buy another piece. of
Exactly. Now you're talking that's Dwight talking over there.
Right, so if you've participated in Dwight's
Wealth
Wealth
building.
Builder series, he talks about, that type of thing, and so this is a great product to get into that and start working towards that plan.
I want one of your flyers, I know a candidate actually.
Sweet.
And I think balloon payments, back with the market crash, got a little bit of a bad rap because there were bad balloon loans,
They're bad.
right?
Right,
Or
well,
people
Bad borrowers.
didn't know what people didn't know. I feel like people didn't really know what they were getting into. So I think that it's important because your clients might have that like stigma. Maybe
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so
balloon
this is
didn't make
not
the
a-
market crash.
This is not a negative amortization product. You're, paying a loan. What you're talking about is absolutely right. There was like some negative people were paying interest only or not even the full amount.
Mhm.
And then they would balloon after a few years and it would just be,
Yeah.
not good. So, but not, this type of product is not
Well,
that.
worse yet, the interest started going up after 2 years.
Right.
Yeah,
I just want to know that because your clients might be like, oh, wait, I don't want to do that.
yeah, absolutely.
seems
So
great.
if you have any clients that might be interested in something like that, but maybe they have some, past experience where where it wasn't good, let me talk to them. I'm happy to talk them through it, have a buyer consult with you. Absolutely.
Cool.
And what's going on with loan applications, numbers, interest
Yeah, great
rates, all that
question.
stuff?
So a little update on the market. So mortgage applications are up, which is great. There's a lot more interest right now going on. We sort of hit peak of rates towards the end of December, and then we've seen some backing off a little bit of that to where we've seen rates starting to improve a little bit. Mortgage bonds right now are at the same place about where they were December 15th, and we didn't have quite as much enthusiasm towards buying then. However, now because they've come sort of back down to that level from where they peaked, it's better. So we're not back into the 3s or the 4s or even the low 5s yet at this point, but with a little bit of help, or even these temporary buy down programs that we have, you can easily get into, you can get a starting rate into the high 5s. I've got one where we did a VA buy down, and so their starting interest rate was 5.625. So their first year it's going to be 3.625, second year 4.625. Chances are they'll refi, prior to that. And if if they pay off and refi prior to that, any additional money that was, prepaid as part of that temporary buy down goes towards the principal balance. They don't lose it. So it's a great program. There is more enthusiasm out there because rates have, starting to improve a little bit. Sun's starting to come out, although it's cold.
People are happy. They see
yeah.
the sun,
Exactly.
buy some
So
houses.
So
get on the phone and call people.
So you got somebody on a 2-1 buy down with the peak rate of 5 and 7/12.
5.625.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Arturo, come up here.
Yeah.
Say hi to everyone too.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
565. Like in my career, that's been a good It's been a good rate.
Mhm.
Right. So,
Wow.
they had some pay down for that, some points that they
Yeah,
included.
that's
and,
awesome.
So
Come all the way so people on Zoom can see you.
get up here, Arturo.
We love Josh from Academy, but Arturo was standing in the back.
That's
I just
okay.
want you to say hi to everyone. And Arturo speaks Spanish also.
Mhm.
So,
And has good head of hair.
yes.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I haven't been in the industry as long as Josh.
I got
That's
hair
why-
in me, so yeah, he's still got hair.
Right. But I just wanted you to say hi to everyone too. But Josh, good info.
Hello, I'm Arturo. I'm with Academy Mortgage.
And you speak English and Spanish, any other languages?
No,
Oh.
not yet.
All right. That's cool. And thank you guys. This is good news.
Absolutely.
Loan apps are going up, interest rates are going down. There's more unique products, and these guys are here, so they're willing to go to your buyer appointments and stuff with you. So use them.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say another good thing about this is most investors normally think 20%, so if you can show them they can buy 2 properties, I don't know if you mentioned that already.
Mhm.
Buying 2 properties instead of 1 in 1 year, so a lot of them like to grow their portfolio, it allows them to grow their portfolio a lot faster.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a great
and that's
point.
2 deals for you if you're working with them, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And growing your investment properties faster, you have the
Two for.
time value of money.
Absolutely.
That's what Dwight would say if he was here.
Your time value of money.
Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Okay, now for our special guest, Justin Stoddart, come on up here. So Justin is an author, best-selling author, real estate coach extraordinaire, host of the Think Bigger podcast, and just a great knowledgeable resource on all things real estate. Many of you have read his book, The Upstream Model. If you haven't and you want a copy, I have some in my office. And he's going to help us today. We're going to talk about growing our business through strategic referral partners. And I'll let you take it away.
All right.
Justin, thank you for being here.
You guys just clap. That makes me like.
One of our favorites.
In fact, we have to like obligate people to clap for you, and you don't actually earn it. So maybe at the end, I'll actually earn it as well. But just in case I don't perform at that level, I still feel good about.
You got
today.
one.
So what I want to share with you guys today is really a principle around how to have a year that isn't contingent upon what happens with the market. Like raise your hand if you're like, I don't care what happens out there. I want to have a good year this year. Like raise your hand if that's you. Okay, great. You're in a rare crowd of people right now who think that way. Many say, boy, I hope this is going to be a good year. I hope rates are good. I hope my buyers and sellers, like, I hope this works out. Hope is a terrible strategy. We all know that. So the best agents out there, they don't hope. They don't hope for crap, right? What they do is they say, I'm going to have a good year. What do I need to learn? What do I need to do so that I have a good year? Period, right? What I want to share with you today are some strategies that will allow you to do exactly that. Is to put the hope aside and say, okay, what do I need to learn? Who do I need to become in 2023 to have a great year? Doesn't that feel better? You feel like you're in control? Okay, you are in control. And that's a beautiful thing. And especially with some of the strategies I'm going to teach you today, you'll feel more in control than ever before. Now, many of us feel like this, right? Where it's like, I want the whole bowl of strawberries, regardless of what happens. And oftentimes we think to ourselves, like, how do I survive this market? It's a little bit tight, it's tough, right? There's too few, whatever, right? We can come up with all kinds of reasons why it might not work. But then we ask ourselves, we say to ourselves, I don't want to talk about surviving, I want to talk about thriving. Okay. And that's where we're at today. One of the things that we're seeing, maybe some of the challenges, because let's not just say nice things to ourselves and not recognize the fact that there are real challenges in the marketplace right now. Okay. Who here has heard in the past 3 months somebody say, you know what? I'm going to wait and see what happens. Like raise your hand if you've heard somebody say that.
More than once.
Yeah, oftentimes, very frequently, we're hearing that. Okay. Now, why is it that people are saying, you know what? I'm going to wait and see what happens. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, but fundamentally, we have sellers who are really attached to last year's equity, right? They love the fact that their Zestimate or even their CMA that maybe you created for them showed them a price point of $750,000. And this year, they're getting reports that it's far lower than that. And they're like, wait a minute, that sucks. I'm not going to sell my home. Who took my money, right? Who robbed my house of the money? Okay, and whereas buyers at the same point were like, you know, I used to qualify for $750,000 homes, and now I don't, right? So they're like, who took all my buying power? So everybody's kind of holding on to last year, right? Let me share kind of a metaphor. I was on a flight actually from here to Denver, and we stopped at the airport in San Jose. I know, not really a good direct flight. But as I'm flying, I noticed that the flight attendant took his leg and hooked it underneath the seat that I was sitting in. And I was kind of curious that, and I noticed the guy behind me said something. He noticed it as well. He said, what are you doing with your foot there? And he said, well, sometimes when there's turbulence, we have plenty of time to return to our seats and get buckled up. Sometimes we don't. And I've just learned as an attendant to just be prepared and kind of hook my foot here. And maybe some of you have been on a flight. In fact, everybody here has been on a flight probably, where they said, please return to your seat, buckle up, we're going to experience some turbulence, right? Like raise your hand if you've heard that before. Okay. Has anybody here been on a flight where you didn't get that notification and all of a sudden the plane drops and heads are hitting the ceiling? Anybody seen that before? Luckily, I haven't been on a flight, but I've heard about those. And here it's awful. It's like super scary. Now, nobody dies, right? The plane doesn't go down, but the plane just drops. And all of a sudden, like there's some chaos for a little bit. If we were to compare like an airplane flight, that's kind of what happened this past year when rates went up really quickly, right? We didn't have time to kind of return to our seats, buckle up, get ready. We're going to experience some turbulence. All of a sudden, right? The Fed realized we've got an issue with inflation. They start making drastic moves and people didn't have time to really get back to their seats. So as we're dealing with that, right, we kind of have this predicament, if you will. It's like, okay, I've got all these people that are saying, I'm going to wait and see what happens. Now, you and I both know that you earn money when homes close. And so that doesn't work very well to sit around and wait for all those people to like get comfortable again. Okay. And we're kind of asking ourselves like, dang, okay, what's this going to feel like? Yet first thing when we get up in the morning, what we don't want to say is like, I'm going to settle today. I had these big goals. It's already the end of January. I'm just going to cut those in half. Right. That's not what we want to say the first thing in the morning. Right. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to settle for that. Right. So we've got option one, which is we're going to do what we've always done and we're going to ride the market. During good years, we're going to have good years. During less good years, we're going to have less good years. But we all decided here that we're not, like, that's not us, right? That it's not a, I hope this works out. Instead, we're saying, I'm going to have a good year. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we find the people who maybe don't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to wait until next year? Okay, think about that for a minute. There are some people out there in the marketplace right now who are, they love to say, let me wait and see what happens, but they can't. They have to move. They have to buy, they have to sell now. Wouldn't it be nice? Think about every one of the people who you have heard say, I'm going to wait till next year. Imagine if they didn't have that option, if they're like, no, we have to move. Wouldn't that be a more fun conversation for you? Like, yeah, we have to sell. Like, we love those conversations. We don't love the ones where it's like, you know what? Maybe we'll sell. It depends on what the price comes in, right? That's like, okay, right? We'll see how this goes. But when they have to, then all of a sudden we're feeling confident that something good is going to come from this. Okay. So how do we find those people to where all of our conversations are with those that are highly motivated? I was actually presenting to a group of title reps yesterday here in the Portland area, a big room of them. And I shared with them and they validated that in last year in 2021, the number of orders that were open, both refi as well as resale, were at 45% of the year prior. 45%, right? So obviously from a title company standpoint, which is the industry I used to be in, okay, that industry is feeling it. And so again, we have the option to say, well, I guess if the cup is half full or half empty, however you want to see it, right? There's half as many transactions. I guess I'll have half as big of goals. No, again, I just want to drill it in your heads before we get started on how to fix this, that is not how we should look at this. That we should say, okay, if half the people are saying I'm on the side, then I'm going to wait and see what happens. How do we go simply and only have conversations with people that are saying, I have to buy, I have to sell? Okay, that's going to be the topics of today's conversation. There will be a QR code available at the end. So if you have your cell phone ready, I'll give you a QR code at the end. It'll be a quick survey as well to just get some feedback from you on the presentation. And if you want to have another conversation about how I can help you, okay? So kind of be watching for that at the end. But if you want to take notes, just know that I'll give you all these slides here at the end. For those that don't know me, family's a pretty big deal to me, and they're a pretty big family too, so that helps.
That's a good picture.
That's cute.
How did the couch get in the middle of the field? I don't know, my wife's idea. I just do what I'm told, right? That's why we're happily married. Yeah, that's our crew. For those that, I guess we already talked about this. Again, this is a podcast, Think Big Real Estate. I do 1 to 2 episodes every week. And I purposely go find people that are the biggest thinkers and highest achievers in the industry, and I interview them so that I get better for my clients and so that I extract information out to help those that I serve. Also authored the book, The Upstream Model. As Screen said, she has copies of this. If anybody wants any, we're going to talk about some of these principles today. And outside of that, I own a company called Think Bigger, which is a coaching and consulting platform for the real estate title industries. So let's talk about this. How do we find highly motivated buyers and sellers, right? We all agree that there are seasons of life, okay? Raise your hand if your parents are still living and well at this point. Okay, great. How many of you have noticed in the past couple of years that they're getting older, right? I've noticed that, right? My kids say that about me as well, unfortunately. In fact, this became very apparent. This is funny. So when I was a kid, we had a dunk basketball hoop, like just a cul-de-sac away. All my friends after school, we got the bus, we'd grab the basketball and we'd run down and we felt like Michael Jordan. You guys have done that before, right? Where it's like a lower hoop and you're like doing all these crazy dunks, just like all the pros did. So I'm pretty excited because like we got a basketball hoop for Christmas. And I'm like, I'm gonna show my kids like what it's like. And so I start doing like, you know, these cool dunks. I didn't do some of them very well. My daughter took a picture, like was videoing me. And my foot was off the ground like that far. I felt like I was so high off the ground. I'm like, that's embarrassing. But anyway, there are seasons of life, needless to say, right? At times we're flying high, at times we're barely getting off the ground, right? But the reality is, if every one of those seasons of life, typically when some sort of transition in life happens, there comes with it some sort of change in structure in which people are living. Okay. Now, let me share with you this. Not only do leaves change, but people do too. Here are what I call the 8 Ds. And this is just one list. There are so many others, but because they all started with a D, or I found a way to make them all start with a D, this is a start. Okay. Each one of these is a life transition. Okay. Think about it. A divorce, you've got one household that's dividing into more than one, right? Unfortunately. Okay. You've got diapers, or sorry, diamonds, right? Diamonds is you got oftentimes 2 households coming into one, right? Okay, that's a little better story, right? And then you have death. Unfortunately, people leave this earth, right? You got diapers, new people coming into this earth. Think about it. Every time one of those things happens, in most cases, there's some sort of real estate purchase or sale that happens in connection with that. Okay, would you agree? Like in most of these, right? Continuing on, right? Devastation. It could be personal devastation like bankruptcy, foreclosure, right? It could be natural disaster, house burns down, right? Or like forest fire, whatever. People decide to move, okay? For all kinds of reasons. Diplomas, people getting new jobs and they're moving to a new area, right? We have destination. It's like, I want to live in sunny Arizona. We've heard about a lot of that happening recently, right? And they're just simply downsizing. Like, we need a smaller house. Our kids have moved on. Okay, now raise your hand if you have either known of somebody or helped somebody move that was attached to one of these things. Like, raise your hand. If this is like a purchase or a sale you've helped with, in which one of these things was connected to that, okay? Would you agree that that person didn't have the luxury of saying, you know what, I'm gonna wait and see what happens. I'm gonna wait and see what happens with the market, right? They were more motivated. They were more highly motivated buyers and sellers. So again, if you want to have a 2023 that matches your goals, maybe even beats them, the key is to be in conversations with people who have to buy, have to sell. Okay. That way, half of the people can't exclude you and waste half your time, right? All right. So how do we find these people? I would agree that it would be a little awkward if a real estate agent emailed me and said, how's you and your wife's marriage? You guys thinking about getting a divorce soon? I'd be like, huh? Did I read that right? Or how are you feeling? Thinking about dying anytime soon, right? Or how are your parents? Are they like getting close to death? Like, really weird, okay? So please don't do that. That's not a good strategy. And so we have to go about carefully, because sometimes these life transitions are a little bit sensitive. They're things that like maybe we have to be careful because people are going through some changes, right? Some transitions. And oftentimes it can feel like, okay, I've got this big database of people. In there somewhere are people going through these life transitions. In there somewhere, whether it be a neighborhood farm, whether it be my personal sphere, whether it be internet leads. Like, I was just talking to an agent that I know on the way here, and he said, I've set up a funnel through Facebook and I'm getting internet leads, and I talk to them and then they ghost me. They don't call them back, right? Well, obviously they don't need to buy, need to sell, right? They're kind of like kicking tires. So we can spend a lot of time talking to people who are tire kickers. Raise your hand if you don't love spending time with tire kickers, right? Only a couple of you do. Okay, good. Everyone else. Okay, so inside here we have needles that we're trying to find that are the gem. Okay, how do we find those people? Well, traditionally what we're taught is build a giant database, a big database, and from that database we will find the gold, right? We will find the needles, if you will. Okay, now let me just give you a comparison of what maybe that strategy might look like in this market. You see the correlation there? It's like, hey, okay, you want more needles, let's call them buyers and sellers that are highly motivated. Great. What you should do then is just go looking through bigger stacks of hay. And it's like, wait a minute, do I need more hay or do I need more needles? Right? You see how sometimes maybe this can contradict actually finding motivated buyers and sellers. Yes, you'll find more of them in there, but is that the way to actually a really good life, is just having more and more and more hay? Well, let's farm 2 neighborhoods. Let's farm 5 neighborhoods, right? Let's add 10, 20,000 people to my database. I don't disagree. You will find needles in there. I don't disagree that that will work, but you're going to spend a lot of time and a lot of money using that strategy, right? And you may or may not get to your goals. So isn't what we really want, isn't what we want is not more haystacks, but we want more stacks of needles. If we're looking for needles, let's go find out where all the needles are hanging out. Here's another funny story. In church on Sunday, gal's speaking, and she shares a story. She said, my husband, when we were first dating, had the nerdiest hobby. I was almost embarrassed. It was almost a deal breaker. We're like, this is going to be interesting. She says he had a metal detector. Anybody here have a metal detector? Okay, well, I'm not offending anybody. If you do, the story gets better for those that have metal detectors. So she's like, we'd go like to the beach, and we're at this beautiful beach, and here my husband is out there. I'm sitting over there by myself watching him look for like a penny or a rusty paper clip if he's lucky. And she said, but then everything changed for me, because one day we were out on some practice fields, like soccer fields, where we were going to college, and some lady says, I lost my engagement ring. Oh no, can everybody help me find it? And he's like, I'll be right back. Runs home, comes out with his metal detector. And his wife was like, oh my goodness, you're not such a nerd. That's actually pretty cool, right? So in times like this, it'd be nice to like, how do I go get the needles, right? How do I have someone go, it's right here. Here's a stack of needles, right? That's what we're going to talk about, is how to specifically do that. Let me tell you my story. I was a high-end luxury home builder and land developer from 2002 until 2009. Learned how to build a great home. The guy that I was working for began really pursuing land development and had me oversee his high-end home building business. In that process, his passion kind of moved away. I decided to step away and pursue my own business. I assumed it'd be just as easy as he had made it up here. Some of you have heard this story before. So this was me down here at the edge of the banks, ready to put my line in the water, start pulling fish out of this stream. But I found that all these builders already had an established part of the shoreline. Okay, anybody here felt like getting into the business? It's like, man, I see that other agent signs everywhere. My neighborhood, other neighborhoods, anybody feel like that? Like, man, these people they're so much further ahead than me. Okay, they already have people in their sphere. They're emailing them all the time. They're client events. How do I break in? Okay, that was me. How do I break in? And I realized I could play the long game, which is I'm gonna outlive these people. Like, I'm just gonna keep on keeping on, right? I'm gonna eventually I'll win. But yet my family, this weird thing, they wanted food with their meals then, not just some future day. So it's like, okay, I actually need to make this work now, right? I've got big goals now. Maybe some of you are like that. It's like, you know what? I could wait, just kind of pay my dues, and eventually it'll work out for me. Or what if I had a different strategy? What if I were to, instead of waiting down where everyone else is at, what if I were to get upstream and find out where all those fish are at before they get to my competition, or where all the needles are at, going back to my previous metaphor. Okay, how do I get up to where where the competition is not there yet? How do I get up ahead of it? Okay, so different way of looking at this. Here's traditional methods, right? You've got a big database, and out of that comes a small number of referrals. Or you can say, I'm going to have a small database of what I call upstream partners, which are people who are up here, who are already working with people who are going to be buying and selling next. As a home builder, that was an architect. All of their people were highly motivated to build a home because they just had floor plans that they spent 20 grand on, right? So of course they're going to build a home next. Very similar in real estate, there are professionals that are right within this geographic area who are meeting with their clients right now and uncovering the fact that their clients are highly motivated to buy or sell now. Okay, some of these professionals, in fact, I'll share with you what some of these professionals look like. On the divorce side, there are attorneys and there are mediators. Okay, now this is just me pulling stuff from what some of my private clients have had success in doing. This is no comprehensive list. This is not everything. This is just to get you started, right? Diamonds. There are people, in fact, I'll tell you about a client that I work with out of the Bay Area. He said, Justin, I love this idea. My brother and sister are wedding photographers. How do I capture this? He's like, all of their clients are probably like most likely going to be making some sort of real estate move in the next little bit. So we talked about a strategy to add value, not just ask for a favor from his brother and sister-in-law, but to actually like add value to them that they could give to their clients that would open up a real estate related conversation. Okay. So then guess what? The warm referrals started to flow. Okay. Oops. Oh wait. Okay. People that are dying, right? Estate attorneys are obviously involved oftentimes in that prior to that. Okay. The medical industry happens to know when people are having babies, right? We look at devastation, trustees, bankruptcy attorneys, right? Pre-foreclosure, like all these things, they're precursors to people making a move. Okay. We've got diplomas, HR departments. I listened to a real estate conference, lady stood up on stage and she said, we closed over 700 homes last year from 2 clients. They were corporations who we took care of all their HR needs. I interviewed a guy out of Texas on my podcast 2 weeks ago. He said in 2021, we sold 1,600 homes. In 2022, we sold 1,500 homes. I said, how did you do that? He said, very simple. He said, it's called the upstream model. He said, we have 3 to 4 builder relationships. We've worked out a program to where we get to sell all of their clients' houses. People come in shopping for a home and they say, well, we have a house to sell. Okay, we have a partner for that. Okay, so however you want to apply this, just know that there are other professionals who already have a relationship, and because of that relationship, they can say, you should talk to this person, right? And because that endorsement comes from somebody else, you're not fighting with all the other agents for that business. You're there first, and you're there endorsed. Okay. Downsizing, senior care. Some private clients here in the Portland area that work with senior care facilities, right? People come in saying like, is this the right place for mom? Guess what? Mom's got to sell a house as well. Great. Those people in those facilities are queued up to add value to those people around that real estate conversation, which leads them to a conversation with a real estate agent. Okay. And then obviously the relocation services example. All right. So let me share with you the 5 steps of making this happen. Okay. Now, my guess is after I go through these 5 steps, you're going to have a couple of questions. At the end, again, I'm going to give you the QR code to be able to have me send you all these slides. You'll have them. I'll also have you put in your email address. And I'll ask you at that time, do you want to have a quick conversation about questions that you have? Because you might be saying like, my dad's a divorce attorney, or my sister is a wedding photographer, or my whatever. What's the next steps, right? I'm happy to meet with you for 10, 15 minutes. Just give you some pre-value to get you going. Whatever wheels are turned in your head, don't let them stop there. Okay. All too often we hear good ideas and we don't execute on them. Those that will have a great year in 2023 are the ones that will execute on it. Okay. So whatever good idea you have, write it down and let's have a conversation. I'll help you take the next step. Fair? Okay. All right. So let me buzz through these steps. Step number 1 is identify first and foremost who is highly motivated in this market. Right? Who is somebody that needs to buy, needs to sell, has to buy, has to sell? Okay. If they're not that, then this might not be the year for them. Okay. Doesn't mean it's still not a good upstream partnership, but if we really want to say, I'm going to have a banner year, a breakout year, when everybody else is counting what they lost from last year or the year before, right? You're going to have to spend your time talking to people that are highly motivated. Okay. So first and foremost, you're going to identify a clientele who's highly motivated, and then somebody who you like working with. Okay. One of the things that we teach is that be sure that number 1, you're identifying somebody who's good for your bank account. Like they gotta actually do business. And secondly, good for your heart. I love serving these people. For some of you, it's like, I love serving senior citizens. I love serving that senior crowd. I love them. They're sweet. They love to talk. They love to connect. And they're underserved. I want to help them, right? Some of you, it's like people moving to this area. I moved to this area. I know what it's like to be in this city, new. These are my people. I can help them. For some of you, it's first-time home buyers and sellers. I love these people, or whatever it is. Be sure that they need to buy, need to sell this year, and that you love them, right? That you want to spend your time serving them. And this will not be a job. This will be your life's work, right? It'll be your life's work, and you'll get well paid to do it. So that's the first. Identify the avatar who you want to serve, And then next, ask yourself the question, who is the professional who is already in relationship with these people? Okay, it could be a financial advisor. It could be a CPA. It could be an insurance agent. It could be a lender, right? Ask yourself who already knows this person and has some influence on them. Let me just give you some stats. When it comes to the average CPA business has 500 people in their book of business. Okay, 500. Let's say on average, people move every 10 years. That's 50 moves are going to happen. Call it 100 transaction sides from one CPA's business. Are you going to get all that business? No, right? But would 1 a quarter be cool? Right? Would 1 a month be cool? Yes. How do you do that, right? First and foremost, we got to be sure that the referrals that they're going to send you are people that you can serve and love to serve. Okay. Next, you're going to seek a warm introduction. I've had people say, I get this model. I just emailed 500 people on LinkedIn that were an attorney. I'm like, don't do that, please. Right? When you show up in their life as a solicitor, it's hard to treat you any differently than a solicitor. Okay. You're wanting to create a strategic referral partner. They need to see you as a peer, as an equal, as somebody who can give more value than you're there to get. So the best way to do that is have someone else who already knows them, who's already worked with them, introduce you. Okay. Craft that warm introduction to where you sound different and better than your competition. Okay. And uniquely positioned to help their clients. Okay. Meet with them as a peer. This is honestly, this is where most agents have a really tough time. Is that they get it, they get the introduction, and they go in with a stack of cards and all their credentials, and they're there to talk about their client experience and all the stuff that they do for their clients. This isn't about you at this time. You take off the real estate agent hat, you put on the business consultant hat, you're there to learn about their business. You're there to uncover where they're at, where they're going, what their plan is to get there, and how you can weave yourself into their life to make their business better. Okay, when you think that way, and you then follow up with adding real value, like delivering a real value and favor to their business afterwards, you're different. And all of a sudden, all the agents that they knew, because yes, they know probably a dozen agents just like everybody else, you start to stand out. You start to jump to the front of the line because you didn't come in and say, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. That's a lovely statement. It works well for your sphere, but it doesn't work well when you're talking to a new business professional who you're just meeting. Okay, that's not the right line. That's not helpful to them. So they'll say, lovely, you're just like every other real estate agent. I'll put you right over here, right? You're in the back of the line. They're mad at you, but you didn't stand out. The way you stand out is you get them talking, find out where they're headed, and find a way to help them get there faster. Okay. The last one is to integrate into their client experience. Imagine every time a property manager sits with their clients, they're looking at information that you provided. Imagine a financial advisor, every time they do an annual review, your information is in that meeting. Imagine an insurance agent, which by the way, on average have between 700 to 1,000 clients in their database, and they're required by state law to meet with them and do an annual review every year. That's a couple a day, every calendar day. Imagine if you had given them value to give to their clients. Because there's so much untapped potential if we stop trying to look for needles in haystacks and go find out to say who already has a relationship with the stack of needles and go show up differently in those people's lives. Okay. Well, we've created our what's called playbooks, where we've interviewed these professionals from other industries, the insurance agents, the lenders, the financial advisors, to find out what are their pain points so that you get to step right in to that conversation with a background of understanding of what they need. Here's some feedback from some of our clients. Client Jen, actually right here in Portland, got her first referral in 30 days after meeting with a divorce attorney. Right here in Oswego, high-end listing. Maybe took it away from one of you, hopefully not. But she said, we got referred because the attorney, or we got the appointment because the attorney said, you should talk to these agents, they're different. And the client said, we know other agents, but we're going through a divorce, so we want somebody who's impartial. Can you imagine that? Other agents have worked for like a decade to secure this spot to get that next listing. And you just step in the front of the line. Okay, pretty cool. Like Kendall got 4 referrals in a day. She's like, is this, I feel like this is starting to work. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. 4 referrals in a day. We'll take that. And then my client Arthur out of Florida got a couple referrals from an HVAC contractor. So again, it's not just the professionals, white collar crowd, right? Sometimes it's the contractors. When you give them enough value and arm them with what to say, then all of a sudden you're in those conversations that are precursors to life transitions. They're precursors to them making a real estate move. Okay, here is this promised QR code. You take a picture of that really quickly, it'll give you a quick little ask your name and email so I can send you the slides, so you'll have that. And they'll ask us a couple questions to see if I can reach out and help you in any way. And does anybody really love to read? Any good readers? It's the first standard here. Here's a copy book.
Thank you. Might not have enough contract. Yeah.
That's all I got. Thank you guys so much.
Good job. Thank you.
Wait, so before you go, maybe can you elaborate real quick on just some of the ways that agents can provide value to some of those partners?
So there's two parts. Part 4, right? There's after you meet with them as a peer, you're looking for ways to add value to their business. In that, it's really, it varies so much, right? So for example, I'll give you an example from some of our clients. She stepped out of the divorce attorney meeting and she said, okay, here's what I learned. What do I do? I said, what were their bottlenecks in their business right now? I said, well, they said, we're having a hard time finding paralegals in this job market. Great, your job is to go help them find a paralegal. Like, but I'm a real estate agent. I know. Do you want referrals? Here's the key. If you want somebody's business, become a part of their business. Right? What do they need? Your network. And I love how Keller Williams has put such emphasis on the database. I sat in the Keller Williams family reunion 4 or 5 years ago when Gary Keller first announced their initiative to become a technology company. And he talked about how the most valuable companies in the world are data companies, and how Keller Williams was pursuing that same path to become also a data company, to really create technology that would separate them. And if you think about why is data so valuable, it's because with data, you're able to connect wants and needs, right? You're able to connect people with what they need. You know enough about them, you can connect them. And if you guys look at your database as not just these are potential buyers and sellers, but every one of these people are assets to me. Not assets, the T, assets to me. Each one of those people are assets that you can make an introduction, right? You can tap into that group of people to solve the problems of these partners. So find out the problem, and then if you have a problem of what do I do next, reach out to me on social media and just message me, say, hey, what do I do now? I'd be more than happy to help. So by the way, yeah, follow me on Instagram at Justin Stoddart. Happy to have a direct message conversation with you if that's helpful. But I put out a lot of content about this stuff as well. So
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Make sure to stay on that slides and good stuff. There's so much good stuff. I was just listening to your podcast from last week and I wrote down, don't let the market drive your success. Right? Because stay in control. So
Yeah.
I love that you talked about that too. Awesome. Okay, guys, have a good week.
Bye.
See you tomorrow. What do we have? Past 10.